Have you ever experienced a paranormal activity or something like that in your early teenage days? Well, I have experienced something like that in my early teenage days. So today it is the first episode of Your Worst Nightmare, and please listen to me till the end. And if you haven't subscribed to the W Legacy YouTube channel, then just make sure that you subscribe to the W Legacy YouTube channel and you press the bell icon for latest updates. So now with that being said, let's get to the story. It was a hot summer day. I was watching videos on YouTube, and it was my school summer vacation, and used to spend my days watching videos, TV shows, blah blah. And that day I was actually getting bored. And I thought of meeting my friends and spend some good time together. So I texted a message to one of my friends, John, and I asked him if he would like to come with me to a restaurant or somewhere else to have a lot of talks together and hang out. So after 2-3 seconds he replied me and said, "Yeah, let's go meet somewhere." And I asked him to meet me at 12:30 a.m. in the midday at his home's nearest cafe. I dressed up and I took my dad's car and I went on my way to the nearest cafe of John's house. Usually, my dad never gave me the permission to take his car as I was only 17 years old. But that day, my dad was out of town and I had the opportunity to take his car and drive it to wherever I want. I catch John and then in the exact place where I asked him to meet me. He smiled and asked me if my dad gave me the permission to take his car. And I told him the story how I was able to use my dad's car. And on our way, we catch two more of our friends, Chris and Steve. All the four of our friends had a great time together and we had so much fun. It was almost 7 p.m. in the evening when I noticed the time and we thought of going to a restaurant to have some good food as we were feeling hungry. And a few minutes later, we finally got ourselves to a restaurant. We were feeling good and we were relaxing. We ordered some delicious food and some glass of cold drink. When we got out of the restaurant and was getting in the car, I actually noticed that not one but two tires of the car was punctured and there was no garage near to be seen where we could change the car tires. I wondered if my mom was worrying for me. Then after a few minutes, I saw a man coming out of the same restaurant. He was actually coming towards us. He looked so normal and friendly. He asked us if we were having some problem and we told him that the tires of our car got punctured and we needed the help of a mechanic to change the tires. He said in a friendly manner, "Well, I can help you guys." John asked that man, "Do you know any mechanic?" The man replied, "Actually, I used to be a mechanic." We were feeling lucky that we fortunately met a mechanic and we went to his house that was 4 kilometers away from the restaurant. When we got to his house, it was a little bit weird because his house was too far from the city and no other house to be found near his house, and I was a little worried. I just wanted to repair the tires and go home as quick as it is possible. So we took our car inside his boundary and he asked us to stay there and he will be right back in a few minutes with his tools. Saying so, he got inside his house. And after a few minutes later, we noticed that he was not coming out of his house. We were a little bit worried about that man. So I called him in a loud voice. "Hey mister, come out, we need to change the car tires." No answer. Almost half an hour passed and he was not coming out and we all were worried about him. Finally John decided to go inside and call out the man. He thought that the man was making us fool and the man don't want to help us. And he went inside his home and after 2-3 minutes later he heard someone screaming in pain. As far as we knew, we were sure it was Sean. We were so afraid and we entered the home to save our friend. And we called John. Are you okay, John? No reply. We went to the kitchen and we saw John was lying dead in the floor, and the man was holding a knife in his hand, and he was actually beating John's hand. One thing we knew that was sure, and that's the man was a cannibal. I screamed at him. What are you doing? First, he didn't even look at us. Second time, he did the same. After shouting so many times at him, he slowly turned his head to us. He was angry, his eyes was complete red, the blood was coming out of his mouth. He was looking very dangerous, and then he slowly stepped his one foot towards us, then another. I was really scared, as well my other two friends. He had a knife holding in his right hand. I wondered that he could hurt us. We started to run for our life, and I was the only lucky person because unfortunately he killed my other two friends, but somehow I was able to save myself. And one thing which still haunts me, one thing I will never forget, is the man's face. It was very scary. It still haunts me, and I still feel very sorry for my other friends. My dad's car was left there, and I never tried to get it back because I never wanted to go back there. And I never tried to share this with someone, or even didn't try to tell this to the police. So thank you guys for listening to me today. I'll be back tomorrow with another creepy and horror story. And if you have enjoyed this story, please like and share with your friends and subscribe to the W Legacy YouTube channel and press the bell icon. And also tell me in the comments below if you have ever had any horror experience.